Okay, I am going to be making Cornish Pastys, which is like an Irish or British meat pie. It's a handheld pie, very delicious. My stepmom used to make them all the time, and I'm missing her, so I wanted to make something that reminded me of her. I'm gonna make the dough first. What I have here is 1 1/4 cups of pre-sifted flour. It's been in the freezer, so it's very cold. I also have a stick of butter. It's like a half stick, one of those little ones. I probably won't use the whole thing. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it, but I will show you as I go along, okay? And then I have 3 to 4 tablespoons of freezing cold water. I have mine in the freezer right now, and then about a teaspoon of salt. I'm trying to monitor my salt intake, so yeah. So I have my flour in here. And then I'm going to grate my butter in there. And I don't have a stand for my phone, so we're gonna have to do this old school. But that's okay, we do lots of things old school around here, because we are old school. Okay. So I'm literally just going to be grating the butter with my cheese grater. The butter is really cold. My dogs are going crazy right now, sorry. They just ate, so they're having playtime. I will put the recipe in the caption for you for both the filling and for the dough. I'm not the best at making dough. My stepmom was great at it. It's just a pie dough, so if you have a favorite pie dough recipe, feel free to use that. It works really well. You can use pre-made pie dough. That's also really good. I just don't have any, and I've been trying to become a better baker, and so I'm trying to make sure that I bake as much as possible from scratch. Okay, so that was like super fast, right? I just took the butter and I grated it in there, just like that. It looks like cheese. It looks like mozzarella cheese. I'm gonna grab my cold water and we're gonna start incorporating it. Now this I do measure. I'm trying to get better at measuring things. Not much of a measurer. Take your rings off. Okay. So I initially just start out, and I mean, this is cold. You can see the glass already started to frost the moment I pulled it out of the freezer, right? So I'm just gonna add in like 2 tablespoons to start, and then go in with my hands. And I'm legit just going to like, so sorry, I don't have like a phone stand. When I get better at doing this, I will get a phone stand. But I'm just gonna kind of crumble it together like that. It's very cold. Add some more water. So right now we're about at 3.5, I would say, tablespoons of water added to the mixture. And you just need enough water for everything to become incorporated. I am gonna stop for a second and grab my salt. I have this beautiful salt. It is a Celtic sea salt. So many health benefits, so good for you. It absorbs super well. And if you're doing things like baking and cooking, it's actually really, really nice to bake and cook with. So there's that. Just gonna kind of eyeball that. I haven't taken much today, so I'm gonna take some. And I am gonna add like another, I don't know, 1.5 tablespoons of water. Let me get this kind of mixed and I'll show you what it looks like. I hope you're having a good day. I am. It's been quiet, but it's been nice. The dogs have been cooped up inside because it's cold. It's supposed to get really cold next week. I'm gonna add another tablespoon of water, maybe 1.5 tablespoons. You don't want to over mix it. You just really need it to just kind of get to the point where it starts to come together and it forms a ball. I already have my cling film out and ready to go for whenever I am done with the dough. Okay, I'm gonna show you. So it's literally just come together and it's just a flaky, it's an easy flaky dough. I mean, it's super easy. And then I'm gonna put it out on my cling film. Of course I have gross hands. And that's it. That's all she wrote. And I'm going to put her in the freezer, actually in the refrigerator, sorry, for as long as it's gonna take me to do the filling. Now the filling is gonna have about 1/3 pound of ground beef, if that much. It's gonna have peas, and it's going to have a potato, a diced potato. If you have other vegetables that you want to put in there, corn, green beans, it really doesn't matter, whatever you like. I was just gonna do something that was more traditional, something that she would have done that reminds me of her. But yeah, do that, and then I'm just gonna wrap this up. Good job, babies. And legit, like from start to finish, oh, sorry. That's my little feather thing. From start to finish, it legit took me 6 minutes to make the whole dough. So that's not bad. So I just wrapped her in the cling film and I'm gonna put her in the fridge. Okay, so I have the diced onion and a little bit of garlic. And then I sauteed those in some bacon grease, just a little bit. And then I added in my ground beef. So here's what we're working with. I have my potatoes diced right here, and I have my peas on deck waiting. I ended up only using one potato. I didn't use the smaller potato, I just used the bigger one. I might add more. I just kind of eyeball it, but I'll show you the process as we go along. I don't like a lot of meat in my filling. I like a lot of vegetables in it. And so I try to like bulk it up with extra veggies. And yeah, so I just kind of eyeball it. Other than the pastry itself, this recipe is so easy just because you can, the filling is very flexible. The flavors are very flexible. If you want to use ground turkey, if you want to use ground pork, if you want to use ground lamb, whatever you want to use, you can totally use it. This would probably be a really good vegetarian recipe. If you wanted to try that, maybe put some tofu or just do a whole bunch of veggies. I don't know. I've never actually tried that itself. I do know that they have variations. I know they have like a sweet potato. I know they have one that's got a lot of cheese and potato in it. So I think it's literally just cheese and potato. I think there's one that has sweet potato in it. I think it's sweet potato and beef, or sweet potato and lamb, which I'm not a big lamb fan, but the sweet potato and beef might be really good. My potatoes are not cooked yet. I am not going to boil them or anything. I'm literally just going to throw them in with the ground beef and let them cook down that way. I am going to add in a little bit of seasonings right now, and I will show you. Just pepper. I put a good amount because I like it to be a little spicy. And then I'm going to add in that same Celtic sea salt because it's good for you. But I don't add too much of the salt because I do put a pretty hefty amount of Worcestershire. Sometimes I will put even a little bit of soy sauce in it as well. I use soy a lot when it comes to my cooking because I think it has more of like that umami flavor. So it's like a very well-rounded salt flavor. And I like that. So I'm going to keep here. I'm going to add in my potatoes right now. And they're going to cook in the oven inside the pastry. which is really nice. The first time I made it, I was like freaked out. I didn't know if they were gonna cook or not, and they cooked just fine. So that was cool. My relative, my stepmom, that used to make this, has passed. And I don't know about you, but I like making recipes of my relatives that have passed that remind me of them, especially if I'm missing them, because it makes me feel like I'm a little bit closer to them, and I like that. Plus, I think it lets their memories kind of live on, you know? It's kind of nice. Okay, so this is what we're working with so far. It's a pretty good, by the time I add the peas, which I just have a whole can of peas. You can use frozen peas if you want. Really doesn't matter. I only had canned peas. I have put peas and carrots in here before, which was delicious. I like the carrots because they get very sweet when you cook it in there. It almost creates like its own gravy while it's in the oven. But I don't know, I'll probably add maybe half of this can of peas to the mixture. Now, here's where I have an eyeball issue sometimes. I get a little overzealous and I just want to add like all the things to it, and then my ratio of filling to actual pie dough is significantly off. And if that is the case, then the filling itself, if you make too much of it, just put it in a Ziploc bag and label it and freeze it. It freezes beautifully, and then the next time you want to make it, all you have to do is make the pastry. Or if you just have a pie crust, you can legit just like pull the pie crust out, pull out the pre-made filling, and preheat your oven, and you're like so good to go for dinner. By the way, this does cook about 20 to 30 minutes. I always put it at 350 just to start, because this dough that I use has a ton of butter in it, which is why it's so tasty. But I'm hesitant to bump the oven temperature up because of that, because I don't want it to burn. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so once I added in the potatoes, it's been cooking for about maybe 3 or 4 more minutes. The beef is done, and the onions and garlic are nice and just kind of cooked down. They just kind of melt into everything. Sorry, like weird lighting in the back there. I was going to show you what other spices and flavorings I use for this. Okay, I put this in everything. It's just chicken bouillon. I know I'm using beef. I should probably use beef bouillon, but I don't have any, so that's what we're going to do. You can use a bouillon cube. You can leave it out. I think this helps to make a good gravy. Okay, and I literally probably put like a teaspoon. I'll show you. Hold on. So I just kind of sprinkle it over the top. Probably about a teaspoon's worth. Oh shoot. Okay, sorry about that. So I have my filling, and we just added in about a teaspoon of the chicken bouillon. I use the powdered kind. If you have a bouillon cube, maybe for this amount, for this quantity, I'd probably only use half, because we are going to be adding in some Worcestershire and some soy, and both have a lot of sodium, so you don't want too much sodium. Add in my Worcestershire. I do a couple of good glugs, like, sorry y'all, my throat has been so froggy the past couple of days. I do probably about a tablespoon and a half of the Worcestershire, and then maybe a teaspoon of the soy. That smells so good. And then I am one that likes to, no pun intended, beef up the flavoring. So if I add garlic and onion, like fresh garlic and onion, I will always put in garlic powder and onion powder. Maybe about half a teaspoon of each. I need more onion powder. By the way, I discovered something totally cool today. I was on my local grocery store app. I use HEB, and I was looking to see, like, you know how they have the bulk department where they have like the nuts and the, you know, they've got all that kind of stuff. They have like lots of sweets and stuff over in that section too. Dude, you can get honey, which I think everyone's probably seen the honey over there. I've never gotten it myself over there. But you can also get spices over there. And like, I needed crushed red pepper. The amount of crushed red pepper you can get, you have to buy it, I think well, at least online, you have to order it in like quarter-pound increments. So for a quarter-pound of crushed red pepper, and it looks like it's really good quality, it was $1.92. Yeah. Just random. And I needed onion powder, and I got a quarter pound of that as well. And I think it was like a couple bucks. So I'm just going to start saving my spice bottles. And then when I get, you know, when I have to get more spices, I'm going to get them from the bulk section, store them in said spice bottles, and we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to be putting in a little bit of red pepper flake because I like it to be a little on the spicy side. Not much, but just a little bit. And then I had salt and pepper in there already. And then, like I said, I did a pretty good amount of Worcestershire, a little bit of soy. I did my red pepper flakes. I did the onion powder, the garlic powder, and a little bit of the chicken bouillon. Again, I apologize for my voice. It's been a week. But this is what it looks like. It's pretty good. And then I'm going to add our peas in real quick. Again, I just kind of eyeball this. There is no right or wrong. In my opinion, cooking should be fun and not stressful. And again, I like a lot of vegetables. If you do not like a lot of vegetables, don't put them in there. You don't have to put any at all. Make it however you like. If you have kiddos, this would be a really great way to get a lot of veggies in there. So initially, obviously, they're not going to be able to see them. Plus, it makes kind of a gravy in there. And that's always nice because, plus it's fun. It's literally handheld. It's like, it's an actual like encapsulated little pie. I'll show you when I put it together. Okay, here's what the filling looks like. Pretty good. And we're going to taste it and see if we need to adjust any of our seasonings. Yes, we are. I'm going to add more Worcestershire. And I'm going to add a little bit more soy. And I'm going to add the red pepper flake. Comes through nicely. I'm going to add just a little bit more pepper because that red pepper flake does pack a little bit of a zing. And I think that's about it. To let you know how much, like how many peas I use, because I like I said, I like a lot of vegetables in mine. Most people want more meat in theirs. I don't care for that personally, but you do it however you like. There are no rules except for maybe the pastry, and even that's still moderately flexible. Okay, so I used this whole thing. This whole thing was full to about here, so I used probably about 3/4 of a can of peas, and then one small potato, and about 1/4 of an onion. It was a big onion. And then I had a huge like piece of garlic, so I used about half of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and get out the pastry. It's been in the fridge for about maybe 20 minutes now while I made the filling. And I'm going to put it on my silpat, which I have put on a baking sheet. So it's my silpat. It's just one of those little mats that keep stuff from sticking. If you don't have that, honestly, there's so much butter in the pastry. You probably could just like spray or use like coconut oil, whatever, you know, whatever oil you like to use on your cookie sheet. This will make about 4 to maybe 5. I don't make a whole lot of dough because I'm pretty much the only one who eats these. But if you want to make more dough, like you could always double the recipe and then just, you know, bulk up the filling. But again, I'll probably have extra filling. I might add the rest of the peas, who knows? Let me taste it one more time, and then I'm gonna get the stuff out of the fridge and start rolling out the pastry. That's good. It always drives me nuts when people cook stuff and they never taste it. Because we all know you're supposed to taste the heck out of your food. Okay, yeah, let me get that stuff out. Let me clear off the space on the counter and I will be back. Okay, so in order to roll out the pastry, I have my flour. I always pre-sift it and store it in the freezer. Excuse me. And then my dough turned out really nice. And I have my rolling pin, the old rolling pin. I would love one of those French ones that's just like tapered. That would be epic, but I don't have one of those. And then I do have a bench scraper, which I find when you're doing pastries is a really nice addition to your arsenal of cooking utensils. So what I'm going to do is, again, I apologize for my voice. It's been a week. Okay, I'm going to put down a moderate amount of flour on the counter. I'll kind of show you here in a sec. Only because I don't want to clean up like a ton, but I will show you a little trick with the bench scraper to get your flour up so that you're not spending like forever trying to clean it up, okay? And then you always want to flour your rolling pin. Okay, so here's what you're working with. I floured the rolling pin, and this is the amount of flour I put down, okay? I know I don't have a stand yet, but I will get one, so I won't have to keep doing that, but bear with me. We're just winging it, and it's fun. Take your jewelry off if you can. That's not fun. Pastry in your jewelry is not fun. Okay, so you just plunk it down, and this is what it looks like. Here, I'll show you. It's got nice big chunks of butter that are still in it, and that's what's gonna make it like super flaky. We want super flaky. And I literally just kind of roll from the inside out and make sure to keep plenty of flour available for your rolling pin, because this isn't necessarily a very sticky dough, but you definitely don't want it to stick. Okay, so I'm just putting even pressure with the rolling pin. And again, this is probably the third time I've made probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 or 8 passes over the dough. And I am adding more flour to the rolling pin about every 2 or 3 passes. And then definitely if it starts to feel like it's sticking to the rolling pin, I'm for sure putting more flour on there. And again, I'm just rolling out from the center. Nice even pressure. Just trying to get it to be about 1/8 of an inch thick. You want it to be thin enough to be able to work with, you know, and have it be like malleable, But I have found if you get it too thin, yeah, then it's a big problem because now you've got like holes in your dough, and that's kind of a pain in the butt. All right, and then right now I'm just kind of taking my hands and stretching it out some because I want more dough. Okay. Using my tea towel that's probably like older than me. All right, here's our dough. And I just rolled it out. Pretty easy. Didn't make too much of a mess. It's not that bad. And then I'm going to cut it into hopefully 6. We'll see. I'm going to dip my pastry cutter into the flour itself. I don't think it'll stick, but just in case, it doesn't really pick up very much. All right, I'm going to do it down the middle first. Okay. Cut it down the middle first, like that. All right. And then we're going to, again, just make sure you have a little bit of flour on it. I don't think it'll stick, but just in case. And then we're going to do like 1, 2. Okay, so these are the cuts that I've made in the dough. Okay, so we've got a few pieces, right, to work with. They're not going to be big, but they don't need to be. They're very rich. And then I'm going to fill them, and I will show you what that looks like in just a second, and then we will close them. Okay, so I have the filling in on each one of the pieces of pie crust. I did about 3 heaping spoonfuls. It's just a regular tablespoon, like that you literally eat at the table with. And that's how much filling I have left over. So I'm definitely going to be putting that in the freezer. And then next time I want to make it, if I have pie crust ready, that's awesome. If I don't, then I can make some, or I can have some on hand from the store. Okay, I'll show you how to close these up. You ready? Okay, please stay. Okay, let's see if I can do this. I just kind of fold them up and just kind of pinch it closed as I go, and then you want to make sure nothing's poking through, nothing's showing. You're literally just making like a tiny little pocket, right? Some people want theirs bigger. Doesn't really matter. There's no right or wrong. Okay. And there you go. And then I put it on my cookie sheet. You want to put the seam side down. Okay. There might be, you know, if you have a little extra flour or whatever, that's totally fine. If you want to add more filling, like this one right here, I think it needs a little bit more filling, so we're going to add more filling to it. Just kind of spread the filling out some. And you can do it fancy if you want. It's just for me, so I just kind of, sometimes I'll do it like a little envelope, just close it up. Make sure you get all the seams and everything closed. If you have extra, like the filling, see how the filling wants to start coming out the side? Just kind of close it up. Oh no! And then pinch it closed. It gets hot really fast, plus I did it right by the oven where I just cooked, so. Okay, let's see here. Perfecto. All right, that's 2. Again, just, let me change this, change the angle. Just like a little pocket, just like a little envelope, okay? Just fold it up like that. And then you want to pinch the corners closed. Okay. Like that. If you need to, use your bench scraper to get it up because the filling might still be warm. It works, I found out it works a little bit better if the filling cools off, but I was being impatient. Now some people make these absolutely beautiful. First couple of times I did it, they actually turned out a little bit better. I wanted to make a few more this time. Honestly, if I had not used quite so much dough or quite so little dough for each one, it would have been a lot different. They would look different, but that's okay. Just me. Okay, this is what we've got so far. Ta-da! On our silk hat, right? And then we've got 2 more. Let's see if I can move them into frame here for you. There we go. Okie dokie, and then again you just fold it up like a little envelope. We're all 4 corners together, right? And then on the sides you want to kind of pinch it so that nothing is exposed. And then I use my bench scraper underneath it. If you don't have a bench scraper, please don't freak out. Use anything you have in your kitchen. If you have, you know, a spatula, if you have whatever you have, just use it. Anything that's going to be able to help you get it off of the surface that you're working with it on in one piece is going to be perfect. Again, I think sometimes people make cooking so difficult. You got to have all the gadgets, you got to have all the things. You really don't. I mean, you can. It's fun, but you don't have to. You can cook just fine without them. Okie dokie. And then bench scrape it, flip it over. There we go. We have 6 little pasties. Now, what I'm going to do, you can certainly do an egg wash, right? You could do anything that you wanted. Typically an egg wash is going to help it brown. I like to use a little bit of milk on the top of it. I don't know why, that's what she did, so that's what I do. So hold on, let me get that. Okay, so I just have my pastry brush and a little bit of milk, that's all that is. And I'm just gonna kind of lightly put it over the top of each one. I think it does help it brown, but again, I also do it as just kind of a nod to her because that's what she did. So that's what we're gonna do. And it's not much. I mean, I maybe used a couple of tablespoons. I didn't even need that much for sure. Like there's no way I needed that much. But that's how much came out. So. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's out, Leo. Okay, so that's what they look like. I know this one I need to kind of close up, so I'm sorry. There we go, and Leo is my helper. And then I was going to show you, in order to clean up your flour, get down, baby, go. If you do have a bench scraper, take it. Take said flour, and you legit scrape it. And it cleans it up in like no time flat. And do it while you don't add any water or anything to it. So much easier. I didn't know that, and I spent quite a long time figuring out how to clean up the flour. Easiest way. Same thing if you're making cookies or whatever. Okay, oven has been preheated to 350. I'm gonna put these in for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to rotate them another 10 minutes and just check and see what they look like. I want them to look nice and golden. I like mine to be very crispy. The Silpat actually is going to protect the bottom, so you can get a lot of color on these without having to have it burn on the bottom, which is nice. But if you don't have a Silpat, don't worry about that at all. Again, it's just, you don't need all the stuff. It's just cooking. Okay, so I put the extra peas in a baggie. I will use that for some stuff that I make for the puppies. And for the leftover like filling that I had, I just put on here obviously the date, Cornish Pastys filling, and I put about approximately 3 pies, so that way next time I know how much dough to make or how much dough to pull out if I'm going to use a pre-made dough. Now I'm going to clean up while these cook. They have about 6 more minutes for the first go around. It's the first 10 minutes. Once the timer goes off, I will show you what they look like. They're probably not going to look a whole heck of a lot different than when we put them in just yet. But I'll show you, and then we're going to rotate them. I do an entire like half turn because my oven doesn't cook evenly all the time, and then they will go back in for another 10 minutes and then we'll check them again. All right, so they have been in the oven for approximately 10 minutes, and let me turn on the light so I can show you. They get very, there's a ton of butter in it, so don't freak out. Okay, don't freak out. So that's what they look like. They're very, I mean, it starts to, it's still, like I told you, it's going to look pretty much how it did when I first put them in, minus the leaking of butter everywhere. So again, I'm just going to turn it around and try not to burn myself while I'm recording at the same time. Okay, and then another 10 minutes. Like I said initially, they'll cook anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. Again, it just depends on how golden they get. Sometimes they get pretty golden pretty quick, and other times it just takes a while. So I just kind of have to wait and see, but we'll see together. All right, so we are at the second 10 minutes. So we are officially 20 minutes in, and oh, hold on, let me turn off the timer. There we go. Okay, so here's what they look like. Now they are firming up pretty nicely. I am probably gonna move them to the upper rack just because I think they will get nice and brown that way. There we go. All right. I'm gonna put them in for probably another, I don't know, I may take the full 30 minutes this time. So I'm gonna put them in for another 10 minutes. Can you not take that? That's Toby Keith. Thank you, Toby Keith. He just jumped up there and took my pot holder. We're gonna put it in for another 10 minutes. But honestly, I'm going to keep an eye on it pretty closely because I don't want them to burn now that I've moved them to the upper level. I got all the dishes done, and I'm going to set the table, and I will see you back in a moment. Okay, so we have 30 minutes in for our pasties. And I did on the second rotation, so they would have been in for 20 minutes. I did move them to a rack that was higher up in the oven because I wanted them to cook a little bit more and get crispier. So let's see what we've got here. All right, here they are. And they're looking really good. They're very, they're starting to get golden. I may have given y'all misinformation on the time. The recipe that I initially used off the internet said about 30 minutes. I like mine, like I said, I like mine to be a lot more golden and like crunchy. If you want something that's going to be a lot flakier and definitely not as crunchy, pull them out now and let them sit for a good 5 minutes or so. They'll be perfect for you. I'm sorry, I have the hiccups. I'm gonna put mine in for about another 8 minutes. So we will be at 38 minutes total, and I rotated them. Yeah, I got the table set and I got the dishes done, so we're good. We're good. Okay, so we are officially 38 minutes in, which seems kind of like a long time, but like I said, I like them to be pretty crispy. And here's what they look like in the oven. Here's what they look like when they come out. I move them away from the edge because my dogs are very tall and they will definitely try and get a little snack. Okay, so I do want to show you, where's my stand? I want to show you the bottom of them. And I want to check the bottom of them too. Sorry, as the day has progressed, my throat has gotten froggier, so bear with me. Okay. So, this is what they look like. Ooh, that's hot. Okay. This is what they look like. They're beautiful. And then here is what the bottom looks like. And you can hear it. Like, it's crispy. I'm so excited. Give me a couple minutes. I'm gonna let them sit for probably about 5 minutes or so. And then I will set the table and I will show you the absolute finished product. Okie dokie. We have our beautiful finished product. Ta-da! Cornish Pastys. So yeah, that's my supper. So, I am so thankful. Yes, this tree stays up year round. I already took down my Christmas stuff, I promise. I am so thankful that you are here with me. And I am so thankful for this food. And I am so thankful to be able to recreate loved ones' recipes. That means a lot to me personally. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I'm going to now tuck in and eat these because I am starving. And I will, yeah, thanks for going on this journey with me. I'm trying to push myself outside my comfort zone. This is definitely outside my comfort zone, but I appreciate it. Love y'all. Make these. Make these. They're so good.